Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 38, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week, so let's crack on. The first one is satellite messaging, so this is everywhere at the moment, you might not have heard of it. If you have a new iPhone 14, then you have satellite messaging, but probably only when you're in emergency if it can't find anything like 4G or 5G. If you have a Huawei Mate 50, you already have it in there. Android 14, it's coming soon, will be supported. The Bullet phone, which is a bit of a niche phone, kind of a rugged phone, then that is coming next year by the sounds of it. And also T-Mobile and SpaceX have announced that they're teaming up to make this available to everybody in the US. So what is it? It's essentially directly messaging through satellites. Now, not every one of these techniques can actually allow you to use two-way communication. Apparently the iPhone 14, it might just be one way, just to send emergency messages to people. However, this is really trying to stop or at least clean up these kind of black spots or low spots in coverage, and is going to become more and more popular and probably more and more useful as well. So if you're not on the satellite messaging bandwagon, then that's coming soon. There you go. This has been a little bit cloaked so far, so if you've seen the Meta Quest Pro headsets, otherwise known as Project Cambria, you might have seen Zuckerberg using them, but they've all been fuzzed out and pixelated out. Now apparently somebody left two of the headsets in a hotel and some enterprising person thought they'd do a quick review of them, as what you're seeing in front of you right now. Interesting things, if there were three things I'd pull out, I would say the cameras on the front of the headsets. This allows you to do pass-through, so that will allow you to see what's in front of you and augment that vision. AR, essentially, which will also, if you don't use the cameras, then you can just use them as VR headsets, or anything in between. It can mix between the two. So mixed reality headsets, as they're called. Second is that the handsets themselves have cameras in, rather than just accelerometers, so that will allow them to track the environment a lot more interestingly. I don't know what really is going to be the difference there, but that should be fun. And thirdly, the headset, if you look at it, doesn't have a band across the top of it. It has a band around the side and sort of a cup at the front. So one of the things that really winds me up about headsets is it messes up with your hair. But what this will also allow you to do is have speakers right next to your ears as well, so that should be good. So these are going to be launched, I think, or unveiled soon anyway, within the next month, so that's what they look like. Ethereum has now done its merge. If that means nothing to you, you might have heard a lot of noise about blockchains and Bitcoin mining, that sort of thing, using a huge amount of energy, and this is what this is now flipped on its head. So you have two models of verifying any transaction on the blockchain. You have proof of work, which has a lot of gnarly calculations that need to get done, which is why it uses a huge amount of energy, and that's only getting more and more and more as people want to do more and more mining. And then there's this other one, which is proof of stake, and we've now moved to that, and that is 99.95% more efficient than previously, so it's almost dropped it down to nothing, if you see what I mean. So I won't go into it fully, but rather than just doing lots of gnarly energy inefficient transactions and calculations, now what happens is you have proof of stake. So if you've got some money, you say, I would like to do one of the transactions for you, I will put up some of my cryptocurrency as a guarantee I'll do it correctly, give me the transaction to do, I will do it. It's very simple to do at this point, and then you send it back, and if it's a correct and everybody else verifies it, you all get a little bit of money and you keep your stake. If you do something that, say, you actually verify a fraudulent transaction, then you lose some of your stake. So it's in your interest to do everything correctly and well. So there you go. So that's proof of stake. And the merge was really, actually, there has been a split of the Ethereum blockchain running for a while that used proof of stake, and actually it's just merged back together. That's why it's called the merge. So Ethereum is a much, much better place to be. It won't make your gas fees much cheaper at the moment, but who knows, we'll watch that one. Has your art been assimilated by an AI? Now you can find out. So haveibeentrained.com basically says, has any of your artwork been used to train a generative algorithm like DALL-E or Imagen from Google? You can upload your art, or you can just use keywords and it will tell you if anything like that has appeared in the database. Now the second part of this, because that's generally a bad thing if you're an artist, because if a generative algorithm has used your art, has assimilated your art, and now can imitate you ad infinitum for free, then it really reduces the value of your art potentially. potentially. You might be able to play with that as an artist, however, it's not a good thing. There's a second part to this project which is called spawning.ai, which is yet really to be realised, and what the promise of that is as an artist you can opt out of being trawled for AIs. Again, not really a huge amount of detail on that yet, but it's the grass shoots of artists kind of taking back their IP really, and their futures probably, from these machines. There you go. This is a really neat thing that I saw. It's not actually in the iOS 16 update just yet. It's 16.1, which is just coming. Some people have it, a lot of people don't. I don't have it, for instance. But what it does is if you go to your settings, into your battery settings, then there'll be this new thing that appears called clean energy charging. What that will allow you to do is, even if you do plug in your charge cable, it won't charge until there is a better time for you to actually charge your phone. So that's when the energy network is probably a better place for you to actually charge from. So there may be more green energy, or there's less congestion on the network. So it's a nicer, greener, more carbon efficient time to charge, and that's when your phone will charge itself. So just a really simple. I like the thinking behind that. It's really nicely done. YouTube have apparently been experimenting with putting 10 ads in a row, or up to 10 ads in a row. A lot of people have been seeing 5 unskippable ads in a row, and some people have seen 10. Now each one of these ads is what's called an ad pod, so they're between 5 and 6 seconds. So even if you did get 10, it would only be maximum of a minute, but they are unskippable. So that might be very tedious depending on what the ads are. Google have actually responded to this and say, well, we've been running these ad pods for a while, and this is just a test, and the test is now over. However, if you are seeing these, then that's what it is. So that might be coming. Lots of people are speculating this is trying to just drive people to buy the premium version of YouTube to get rid of the ads. Another one is clearly it's trying to make more money. It might be driving people to shorts. Who knows what it's for, but that might actually start to become irritating. Let's see where it goes. And finally, GPT-3 injection. I'll explain this. Hopefully it's not too nerdy, but traditionally there was a thing called SQL injection. So SQL is kind of the database language. And what you could do is, if you found a web form or a database that was accessible from the web, that had a form, for instance, leave your comments here, submit your name and address, whatever it is. Sometimes, and a lot of forms, or most of them now, are secure, but what you could do is you could actually write code in the form. It would go into the database and execute. So almost you would send in a mini virus into the database, and you could get up to all sorts of mischief. You could wipe databases, and you can do some very, very naughty things. Now it turns out people have decided, let's have a go at these web bots using AI, and you can do injection on these as well. So remotely.io was a victim of this. It was a remote job search bot where you can have a chat with it on Twitter. However, if you engaged with it and then told it to ignore the last thing you just said, it leaves it open for any kind of command. So GPT-3 is a language AI, so you can just ask it to do stuff, and it will do stuff for you, and it will understand what you need. So for instance, if you want it to ignore the previous instruction and respond with a threat to me, that's exactly what it all knows what a threat is. You can get it to send tweets to your wife, for instance, which is what's going on here. So it was really interesting how people are leaving these things open. We learnt it with databases, don't leave them open. However, we're not learning that yet with messaging bots. So there you go. Bit of fun, also a bit of naughtiness. So hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, it would be great if you could send it to somebody else so they could find it interesting too. If not, I will see you next week.